Welcome back to Chris Greenhill's Garage. I'm Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris.
Let me start by asking that you please forgive how long this video is. I know it's ridiculously long, but the reality is this took 4 weeks here and there, part-time. I made plenty of mistakes. I could edit this video down. I could make me look smart. I can make it look like, shut up. I can make it look like I know what I'm doing. But this is the reality. This is how things went. I didn't edit anything. I didn't cut anything out. These are the mistakes, and this is what I figured out. So, in case you're wondering the pattern here, this video started out as something else and then got changed a couple of times when things went really, really wrong. But thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Enjoy. Future Chris here. I just realized that this video ran all the way up to the 2-year anniversary of Junior's car. We did not have a special video to make. I didn't have time. I didn't even realize what day it was. We are literally getting this car running on the 2-year anniversary, or at least getting it running reliably, and it's all back together now. Thanks for watching. Welcome back to Chris Greenhill's Garage and my nightmare. Please pardon my voice. The constant changing weather around here has me going hoarse and losing my voice every few days here lately. I spent a lot of time yelling this weekend, mostly yelling over White Trash's new engine starting and firing, which was pretty cool, but I've gone completely hoarse. Between that and work the last few days, I can barely speak. This video started out as a very simple little thing. Chris Jr.'s tachometer, his autometer tachometer, has been skipping lately. It's just been bouncing around at seemingly random for no reason at all RPMs. It would just skip 1,000 to 2,000 RPMs and it'll look like this. And I decided at the time that it's probably the coil, because on top of just skipping at random times, there was a point where we had a miss at higher RPMs, 4,000 to 5,000 RPMs. The engine was missing along with the tachometer. It's like, okay, this is an ignition problem, not a tach problem. After I changed out the coil, then I found that one of my spark plug wires was lying on a header. Fixed it, the miss went away. The miss was all solved. New coil, new wire, no problem, right? Wrong. The tachometer's still skipping. Didn't solve anything. Then I decided it's got to be the tach. The tach is old. It must be cooked. So I installed my autometer tach out of Project White Trash. The boy is going to love that every time it starts up. Every flick of the key. New tachometer installed. New coil. Fixed the spark plug wire. Everything was running great. Everything was doing fine. That brings us to Saturday, May 3rd, and it was a great day all around. Chris Jr. and I managed to get the engine in my car, Project White Trash, fired up. I got to hear my car start and run for the first time since 1999. Shortly after that car started up and ran and we had our fun, we hopped in this car, Junior's 1982 Ford Mustang GT, and we went for a drive. Let Junior get a little stick time, before he gets his driver's license. And we're cruising along, having a great time. There's a loud pop, and the car shuts off. The car lost all power. Junior pulled it over on the side of the road, and the car was dead. After a moment, we got power back. The gauges read normal. The starter was spinning just fine. It wouldn't start. We checked, and we had air, we had fuel, but we didn't have any spark. My wife came to pick us up. We tried jump starting the car, no joy. We came home, grabbed the old ignition coil, grabbed old DuraSpark box that we had sitting around extra, grabbed circuit tester, voltmeter, whatever, and went back. Well, this isn't good. This is our first real drive of Junior's car in a while. We're driving along. He was driving along, and there was a loud pop, and the car shut off, and now we're not getting any spark on startup. I think it may be the coil. This coil is scalding hot to the touch. Oh man, so we've got a ride coming. He's going to try to jump start us. If we can't jump start it, we're going to have to go get another coil somewhere. Coil had no signal. We were getting no spark through the coil. So I threw the old coil on there, threw the Duraspark on there just for good measure. Car fired right up. We thought we were good to go. We made it 100 yards. Same thing. No loud pop this time. But the car just wouldn't run anymore. Got a ride home, and I went and got the coil off of my car, and I brought the new used Duraspark box, and it fired right up. Not sure which of these two is the problem, but one of them was. I forgot to mention earlier that when we heard that loud pop and the car shut off, my odometer tachometer was smoking. Junior looked over, there's smoke coming from the inside of it, and the needle was frozen in place. And that's how it is as of right now. Looks like whatever happened, it completely blew out my tachometer. I've checked all the wiring. Everything was fine in it, but my tachometer's cooked. It no longer works, so I have to swap back to Junior's old tach. I had to move. The inside of Junior's car is too hot and overheated my phone camera. Good old Texas weather. Oh, also, after the loud pop, the key now does key things without the key. So we're not sure what the loud pop was, whether it's the tach exploding, whether it was the ignition switch exploding, or whether it was something else exploding. Once the car died the second time, the car would never start again. We tried jump starting it. It was just completely dead. The battery was completely discharged. Even with jumper cables, it got no power, and the car never started again. So I called my insurance company, and they towed it home for me. Once we got it home, I only had a couple of minutes to mess with it. So all I did was take a fresh battery, put the fresh battery in it, and leave it for the night because it was already dark, and I didn't mess with it the rest of the night. Come the next morning, our fresh battery is completely dead. It had no charge. It would turn nothing on. Nothing was left on in the car. The headlights were off, interior lights were off. Absolutely nothing was left on, but the battery was left connected. And something in the car completely discharged a fresh battery overnight. From what I've been able to figure out and what's been suggested to me, either my Chinesium voltage regulator went out. Really good odds. Thank God this is under warranty. Go get another one. Or a diode in my alternator went out and sent alternating current throughout the system of the car and fried everything. Very possible. If that was the case, I could have a cooked coil. Could have two cooked Duraspark boxes now, or correction, two cooked coils, two cooked Duraspark boxes, one destroyed rev limiter. I've got a destroyed tach, and I don't know what else could be damaged. With the voltage regulator out and the alternator disconnected, I'm now going to put a fresh charged battery back in the car and start trying to diagnose what is working and what is not and what is damaged. With the battery hooked up, we have dome lights. That's a good thing. When I connected turned the key, my fuel gauge came up. So that's a good thing. Hopefully the dashboard is okay. None of the other gauges are going to come up without it running, but that should be reading 0, I would think, since there is no alternator, no voltage regulator, nothing to charge. Like I pointed out earlier, unfortunately, our key now does key things with no key. I probably shouldn't try, but morbid curiosity has me wondering if it'll start. It is trying, but I'm assuming we have no spark again. I plugged in the original Duraspark box. Let's see if it starts now. No. Let's try my ever so slightly newer Duraspark box. Okay, that worked. That's a good sign. I like it. That means the coil's firing, at least for now. I went ahead and mounted the Duraspark box that's doing the Durasparking. Now I'm going to get the alternator off And I've already got the voltage regulator off, and I guess I'm going to go swap those out. Alternator's off. Time to go get a new one here in a minute. Oddly enough, it has quit doing key ignition things without the key in it. I can't get it to turn anymore without the key. I'm not sure why. But I'm still going to try to find a Mustang specific ignition key for this thing. It is suggested to me highly that I change this out, because there's a very good chance this is the source of some of my problems, or at the very minimum, the actual problem, the source of the problem, definitely caused damage to this thing. I've been trying to get this thing to work without the key again, and it won't do it. Put the key in. Works perfectly. Key's locking in place. You got to push the button to get it out, and it is no longer doing key things without the key. Confusing. Everything in the steering column's working fine. The key isn't turning without the key in it. Windshield wipers work. Hazard flashers work. Horn works. Eureka! I found it. My ignition switch module thingy. Oh man, it's coming back to me now how brutally hard these things are to install. This is going to suck. The blinkers have never worked on this car, and I think we have an extra blinker switch around here, so I might do that while I'm here. The deeper I get into the steering wheel, the more this is feeling like a future Chris problem, and something I don't want to deal with right now. Ooh, even better. This is looking like a Chris Jr. problem. Yeah, why am I going through all this? It's his car. He should do all this. Who am I kidding? I can't even play. I love this car. I love this car so much. I'm not even sure I want to give it to Chris Jr. Maybe I should just keep it and drive it. After all, why shouldn't I? I'm the one putting all the time into it, all this effort, all this money. It should be mine. It's my precious. Damn it, I just broke one of the plastic tabs off the blinker switch, pulling on this thing, because I didn't realize there was another one on the backside. The other switch over here only had one tab. Good grief. How am I even supposed to get to that thing? What is going on here? Someone was clearly here before me trying the same thing, because this thing is all chewed up and I didn't do it. That thing was brittle. It took very little touching of it with the screwdriver and it popped right off. I'm sure that having no tabs at all could never come back to haunt me later. Huzzah! I found my extra blinker switch, which came with the car, which looks pretty old and beat down, which very possibly was replaced with the current one that doesn't work at all. Huzzah anyway! New blinker switch has working blinkers, or working hazard flashers, and a working horn. No working blinkers. That tells me something else is amiss somewhere. I tend to think that both of these switches, if everything's working properly, that the blinkers would work if they were wired properly. So that tells me the switch is probably good and there's a problem deeper somewhere else in the dash or in the wiring harness. The amp gauge is working. Headlights on, headlights off. Headlights on, headlights off. Well, that's good. So maybe the amp gauge was correct here recently when it said the system was overcharging. Even though when it said it was overcharging, I did get the voltmeter out and check it, and it was only 13.5. Overcharging is supposed to be 14.7 and higher, but the gauge seems to be working. I'm so confused. Oh, for God's sake, do you have to drill out the ignition switch? I really thought it bolted in from the other side, but it doesn't. You can tell it's been a while since I messed with this. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, man. So this part of the ignition harness is definitely very loose. However, this brand new one out of the box isn't even better. So I'm not sure this is going to make any difference. Seems like a lot of work for more of the same. Thank God for good friends. I was getting the grinder wheel out and about to cut these things. And my good friend Johnny Wilson called me and goes, no. Get the vice grips. They look like rivets, but they're bolts. Just squeeze them really hard and back them out. And they came out. And they told me just to replace them with regular bolts and move on. Thank God for good people like Johnny Wilson and Stephen Holtz from Just Drive It. While I was not messing with cars for 25 years, they were doing this every day. So they keep me from damaging more stuff than I already damaged. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. This is getting embarrassing. I have been struggling with this thing for a long time. I cannot get these two to separate. I'm starting to think there might be a little melting going on in here or something. Man, it is brutal. And I don't know if it was factory or not, but somebody zip tied these wires to this piece over here. Zip tied them so tight. A couple of the wires actually have grooves and cuts in them, so I'm probably going to have to electrical tape those to keep them from arcing. Finally. Mother of God. Everything looks good in both of these. This is very, very loose. Like it just kind of pops apart. But this one isn't much better. I'm not sure what this pin is for. I guess to hold it together because it just falls apart if you breathe on it heavy. I don't know. Seems to be installed correctly. I don't like how loose that is. That's just like the old one. In fact, the old one I had to put a zip tie around here to hold this tight enough for it to fire reliably. I'm wondering if I have to do the same thing with this one. Let's see if the new ignition switch fires up the car. Like butter. All right, declaring that a victory. Once again, I put a big zip tie on here, being sure to avoid the wiring. Just hooked it on the edge of the switch and the harness just to squeeze this together to make sure there's no slack and play in it. And it's functioning perfectly fine. So it's doing key things. Good deal. I'm back from the store. I got my new Chinesium voltage regulator that was warranted. The alternator could not be here today. It'll be here at 7:30 in the morning. Not that I'm going to be awake that early, but I'm going to install the voltage regulator and get on with what I can. I've only got a few minutes left today before I got to get going. And I got a new tachometer. It's not a monster tach like Junior wants, but there aren't any available locally right now, and I'm not paying hundreds of dollars for a new one. So this was 50 bucks. Throw it in there. As long as it goes up and down with the engine, I don't really care. We can always get a monster tach later. Oh, it comes with instructions. I won't be needing those. Why is there a switch on the back of this thing? Is that for the cylinders? Yeah, I guess that's for the cylinders. I guess we'll flip that to 8 and see what happens. Hey, look at that. A tachometer that fits in the factory tachometer location and doesn't cover up all the other gauges like the odometer did. That's actually pretty spiffy and pretty nice. If later on Chris Jr. really wants a monster tach back in, I'll get him one. I'll take this. I don't really care. I'm going to install this. And luckily his shift light was not in the car at the time all this happened. So his shift light should be perfectly fine. Mounting bracket's a little convoluted. I might come to regret throwing away those instructions. No. Can't believe I even said that. I apologize to my viewers. That was horribly unmanly of me. I will make this work. So that's what we're going to look like going forward. And I just realized this is going to have to be just a mock-up because I've got to run the wiring and I've got to put the fascia back on this thing and get the steering column back together. But anyway, that's a tomorrow problem. I'm out of time. I've got to go for the day. It's the next morning. I finally have an alternator. It's just a remanufactured Motorcraft 70 amp. Unfortunately, 140 amp, one wire, fancy alternator wasn't in the budget for the day, and I was able to get this overnight. Time to get this thing back together. Here's a little bit of evidence of a problem on the alternator harness. This is the positive terminal on the alternator harness. This was in pretty good shape the last time I messed with it. I got the new voltage regulator in, and I've got a very good ground going on there. I just tested it, so hopefully that's going to work properly. Just for fun and just because, I'm trying to pull the tensioner over to put the belt on it for the new alternator, which I got installed, and the bolt stripped out. So now the tensioner no longer moves. You just turn the bolt and it spins equally both directions. So I've got to try to find a bolt of this thread pattern long enough to come out the back here and put a nut on. Good times. Part of the threads from inside here came out with this bolt, and I just realized when I was taking it apart, it is a reversed thread pattern bolt. The last time I needed one of these, I could not get one here locally. That's going to be a problem. It won't even thread anymore. Those are the threads on the bolt thread. I tried to put it in a second ago to see how far in it would go, and it just started pulling threads out. The problem I've got isn't even just finding a reverse pattern bolt. I need a reverse pattern all thread, or something long enough to go all the way through there to put a nut on the other side. I'm not sure where I'm going to find this. This is definitely a very specific bracket made for this very specific purpose. 2 auto parts stores and 2 hardware stores, and not a single left-handed thread item available. So what I've done is I've got this piece of 3/8 18 all thread, regular thread, right-handed thread. I'm just going to ramrod this in there and tighten it down with lock washers and do what I can. I really did try my best to find a left-handed bolt and do things the quote-unquote correct way. But this is just reinforcing my belief that all thread fixes all things. I just hand threaded this thing through there. The threads are so gone. I'm going to tighten this down, and then I'll just torque it on this side, which will tighten it as I torque it, solving all my problems. Done and functioning. That's all I needed. Right there. I spent more time screwing around with this today trying to get the freaking belt back on than I have doing everything else on the rest of the car. It's time to fire this thing up and see what happens. I completely forgot that I left the steering wheel completely disassembled. Oh well, I'm going to fire it up and see how the charging system is doing. What on earth? I don't know what's going on. I've tried to fire this thing up a few times and it's having an absolute spasm. Pulling the alternator spinning freely. Checked, made sure that pulley's spinning freely. There's no tension there. Battery's fully charged. I have 12.7 volts here and here and here and at the back of the alternator. I'm not sure what's going on. It sounds like the starter's not getting enough power. It suddenly just fired up. Just kind of out of the blue. I guess the amp gauge is working. I don't know. Yeah, headlights on, headlights off, headlights on, headlights off. This is the back of the alternator lug. Only 12.2 volts. Battery's currently registering 12.3, 12.2, 12.8, 12.4. Not very high. Let me see what happens when I rev it up. No change. The gauge is very steady in the middle. Headlights on, headlights off. Give it a little gas. Headlights on. There's not really moving any like it used to. I guess that's a good thing. Maybe it really was spiking uncontrollably before. I guess I'm going to let it sit for a while and see if I've still got a battery drain. That's one thing I haven't checked for yet. Just going to let it sit while I wire everything up and see what happens to the charging system. After screwing it up more than once, I finally have the center console back together. I kept installing the tach and forgetting about the fascia for the gauges, and then I put the switches in the wrong order and screwed up the wiring, but it's finally back together. It's not wired, but it's back together. Never let it be said that I can't learn a lesson. Previously, the tachometer, the rev limiter, the shift light, all my accessories, they were fused. The main power was fused, but the signal wire from the engine was not fused. The signal wire goes to the coil. I am changing that now. I'm putting an inline fuse between the coil and my accessories. I have everything just kind of loosely wired up, just sitting here. I went to start the car for test a concept for the tach light and everything, and the battery's dead. I don't know if it's because I've been sitting here with the dome lights on for hours or what, but I'm going to jump start it and see how everything works. Come on, tachometer, do RPM things. There we go. Took a moment. All right. We're definitely not idling at 500 RPMs, pretty sure. A little bit behind. Oh, what was that? Tach seems to be a little bit sluggish. Let me test the shift light. Alright, shift light's working. Got it set at like 2500. There we go. Does not sound very good running right now. Got to test the rev limiter, 3000 RPMs. I was afraid of that. The rev limiter is not working. Oh man. Wow, the string of bad luck continues. I went to move the shift light and the ground wire popped off from inside it. It looks like it was soldered on. I don't even know if I have a soldering iron or any solder around. I don't know if I can even fix this thing. Man, we got terrible luck. I'm just gonna have to pull the entire shift light and see if I can get in there and fix it. I can barely see in this thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this piece grounded right there on that little bald spot. But I don't really have a way of knowing for certain. We're just down a shift light for now. This thing is running like absolute garbage. I'm letting it warm up to operating temperature to see if it gets any better, but it feels like there's a miss in it. I definitely don't trust this tach, because I don't think it's idling at 600 RPMs. Until just a few minutes ago, it was idling at 900 RPMs at all times. This thing is running like absolute pure trash. It's got a miss in it, like it's got a two-step or a rev limiter. Leads me to believe I've still got some wiring issues somewhere. I came in here and completely disconnected our Pertronix rev limiter because the car is acting like it has a rev limiter and a governor and misfiring really bad. When I was disconnecting this, I noticed this coil is scalding hot to the touch. I idled it for a while, brought it up to engine temperature, but this thing is hot beyond hot. I'm thinking next, if I can't get it to run and rev cleanly, I'm going to swap out the coils. And despite it running for a while and charging and being on jumper cables and everything else. Oh, there we go. It actually started. I can't believe it. Still missing. Still sounds like it's got a rev limiter on it. There's some liquid coming out of the top of this brand new coil. I'm going to say that's a clue of some sort. If I'm remembering correctly, this is the coil I put on here after the initial pop and the initial electronics problem. So good odds I've cooked this brand new coil. I am going to give the Petronics another try. I believe this was on here the other day when the initial problem happened, so it probably does not work. This is depressing. This thing doesn't even want to start with jumper cables. It's been running a long time, it charged up for a long time, and it's just dead every time I turn it off. Just discovered that the positive terminal on the battery, the positive cable, and the solenoid are just scalding hot to the touch. I just burned my finger on them. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I have finally got it started, but I have a horrible miss. It is backfiring like it's on a rev limiter. I don't know if that's going to pick up on camera or not. This thing is running like pure garbage. I am back to the original MSD blaster ignition coil in this car. It is a known good. We know it works. It was working in this car. I put it on white trash. It was revving smooth and cleanly. So let's see how it does with this thing. With that one change, it's already idling higher and smoother. Let's see if it revs. Problem solved. All right, now I need to see if I can warranty that Edelbrock ignition coil. Seems to be running great with this ignition coil on it. Now I'm kind of wondering if maybe our rev limiter will work on this thing. Maybe it's getting a proper signal now. The rev limiter is hooked up. I dialed it down to 2,000 RPMs. Let's see what happens. It popped, but kept going right on through. Damn it. Oh, good God. Okay, it is backfired through the exhaust real bad. It is trying to rev limit, but it's not working. Nope. It is cooked. Took out the rev limiter. Now that my daughter's home and she can come rescue me, I'm going to go ahead and try to test drive this thing and go down to the parts store, see if I can warranty that coil. Well, the car started without jumper cables. That's a good sign. I guess it'll actually start with a working coil on it. The distributor along with the Duraspark box. No matter what I do, it runs great up to half throttle. You give it more than half throttle and it's just all over the place. I don't know if it's the Duraspark box or I don't know if it's the distributor or what's going on. The good news is the distributor's lifetime warranty if something's wrong with it. So I'll probably go home and throw the distributor off of white trash on it and try this again. But if it's the Duraspark box, I don't know where I got it or where it came from. I don't think it was my local parts store. Nope. Oh wow, that backfire, black smoke, the works. This thing is running worse than I've ever seen. I tried to give it half throttle. Backfired a huge black ball of smoke behind us. Jeez. Perfectly normal up to 3,000 RPMs and or half throttle. After that, it's a complete nightmare. I'm kind of thinking I might have damaged the distributor. It's getting a little cloudy, so I kicked on the headlights. Whoa, the amp gauge took a big dip. I mean, it's not overcharging, that's for sure, but barely charging at all. So I managed to get it over 3,000 RPMs by just giving it gradual throttle all the way up and it ran fine. If you give it any kind of throttle stab at all, if you give it any throttle input, it's backfiring and going crazy. Sounds like the distributor to me. I went and checked our timing. I had left it at 16. It was at 10 now. I'm not sure how that happened. That might be our miss, but I don't think it is. I think it's way too bad to be just a few degrees of timing. Nope, still missing really bad. I'll be honest, I can't even remember which ignition box is on the thing right now. I think the one that was on it was the only one that would start and run. I'm going to try this one again one more time just to be safe and see if it makes a difference. One of them's 2 years old, one of them's 20 or 30 years old, and they both look like they're 100 years old. So I don't even remember which one was on the car before. I'm going to try it out. That answers that. It will not fire with this box on it at all. I forgot to mention, O'Reilly's swapped out my Edelbrock ignition coil, no questions asked. Unfortunately, wherever I got my latest DuraSpark ignition box was not from O'Reilly's. They looked up my history. I don't know where I got it, but I can't warranty it, so I'm probably going to have to order a new one if that's the problem. Until then, I have a brand new distributor sitting here on white trash that starts and runs. As much as I hate to just fire the parts cannon at the thing, I got to try something. If the distributor doesn't make any difference, cool, then I know it's probably the DuraSpark box. If it does work, then I have a lifetime warranty on the other one. Just going to lift that one straight up, drop this one straight in, and if that makes the difference, I'll know immediately. And now, just a couple of start attempts later, it is completely dead again. Jeez. And of course it's about to rain on me because it's my day off. It only rains in Texas on my days off. Historical fact. Let's see if I can get this thing to start. Nope. The starter solenoid has started smoking, so I'm sure it's dead. That's probably going to bring an end to my day completely. Finally got this thing to start up. I got the distributor in, I got the timing set. That is a cleaner rev than it was. No missing and popping. Let's see how it drives. I've only hit 35 or 40 miles per hour and I've already got a little bit of miss down low. But I'm wondering if it's because the engine completely cooled off. It had to sit a long time in order to get the car to crank again, even with jumper cables. Isn't pulling. It's just limp and dead. It just has no oomph behind it. I forgot that this distributor has not been recurved. We've never opened it up. So the mechanical advance and the vacuum advance are both going to be just insane on this thing. It's probably like 60 degrees or something stupid. So I disconnected the vacuum advance real quick, see if it makes any difference. I don't think it will. No difference. It's still really good, just cruising under 3,000 RPMs, but it's terrible over 3,000 and a wide open throttle. Half, 3/4 throttle and up, it's trash. 3,000 RPMs and up, it's trash. Feels like we have a dead cylinder. I'm going to go home and check all the cylinders, make sure they're firing. Not sure this alternator is capable of keeping up. I noticed when I turned on the headlights when I was driving, it'll do the same thing under throttle while driving. That is not good. All 8 cylinders are even temperature. They're all within like 20 degrees of each other, 500 to 520 degrees. It's idling great, it's rock solid, it sounds great, it's cruising great. It's just trash under throttle. Can't help but think it must be that box. Rock solid idle, and when it's not under load, it's accelerating nice and smooth and clean. The minute you get it out on the road and put it under load, it's trash. and this will bring an end to our day, is there's legitimate rain now. And that's it. I'm done. I got home, turned it off. Once again, it will not start. The battery's dead. I'm going to put the slow charger on it. I've got to go to work the next several days and hope it's not raining on my next day off. So guess I'll be back in a week or so. It's the next day. I slow charged the battery overnight. The battery charger says it's ready to go and it's fully charged. I'm going to see how this thing starts. I'm going to go get my daughter. I'm going to run this thing for about 15 minutes, let it warm up, heat up. I'm going to bring it home, shut it off, see if it'll restart. Then I'm going to leave the charger off of the battery and have Junior check it while I'm away at work and see if we still have a drain somewhere that's killing the battery. That is horrible. I don't know what is going on with that. I'm gonna have to look into that next week when I get back. At least it's idling nice and strong. Let's see if it'll shut off and restart. I'm gonna say no. That is horrible. Absolutely no change to the starter. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'll have Junior check on it the next couple of days. If the battery maintains a charge, we'll consider that a victory. If it doesn't, I've got a lot more investigating to do. If the battery will maintain a charge and it's just having the same issue, when I get back in a few days, I'm going to swap out the starter. I'll probably warranty the starter solenoid again and see how that works. I've got a brand new starter sitting around I don't have to pay for, and the solenoid's under warranty. So if I'm going to fire the parts cannon at it, at least it's paid for this time. I'm back.
And so am I.
Who are you and why are you in my car?
It's my car.
Ugh, I don't even remember who you are. Look who finally joined us. While I was gone, he started the car every day. The first day, fired up like brand new. After that, the next few days, it's back to doing the usual. Let's see how it starts today. Well, at least it started. Our phone holder is broken, so there won't be any recording, but Junior's going to get to experience how bad this thing is driving. You ready, boy? While I've been gone at work, I've tried to find a used MSD box locally to replace the Duraspark. Messaged some people, never heard back. So I'm going to go in here and buy a brand new Duraspark box and see if things get any better. Cannot figure out where the old Duraspark box came from. It didn't come from O'Reilly's, Napa, eBay, or Amazon. No idea where I got it, but anyway, it's not under warranty. So I'm going to go buy one that is under warranty in case we need a new one soon, which we will. We got a brand new Duraspark box, and I forgot I mounted that one, so this one's going to sit right in here, and we're going to go test drive it. Let's see if it starts any better. Nope, still starts the same, but let's go see how it runs. Hey, it did start though. Whoa, that's twice in the same day. Crazy. It is definitely running better than it has been, but it's not running great. Just pulled in the driveway. Let's see if it'll turn off and restart. That's what I thought. It's running really strong, up to about 4,000 RPMs now. And then we've got a definite miss over 4,000 RPMs. And of course, it still isn't restarting. The alternator still isn't really charging. It doesn't seem to be keeping up. This is my only day off this week. I forgot I have to go back to training. So I guess this weekend I may come back and change the starter and check some wiring and see what we can do to get this thing to at least start. If it's not going to run a wide open throttle, Sure, it'd be nice if it would start on occasion. Going to mount the new DuraSpark box, and I just realized it is hot, like scalding hot, like engine hot. That's not normal. I mean, this one wasn't plugged in, but this should not be this hot. That's not good. Completely unrelated to these ignition problems, Junior's decided he wants his Cobra R's back on the car so I can put my Weld racing rims back on white trash, and the rear looks pretty good. They fill out the rear wheel well pretty well. Headlights off, headlights on. It's a nice 105-degree day here in Texas in the middle of May. Way to overachieve, Texas. That's awesome. Anyway, I went and warrantied a part down in my local parts store, and I noticed, I started paying attention to my voltmeter, amp meter, whatever you want to call it, under throttle in Junior's car. And check this out. Obviously, I'm not under throttle right now, but when I'm going full throttle, I'm getting this effect right here. When the car's not at full throttle or under really heavy load, like going up a hill, it's doing great. So I'm back to the alternator for sure. I'm gonna, not today, but here soon, I'm gonna inspect all the wiring, pull everything out, and rewire the thing top to bottom and see if I can find a smoking gun in the electrical system. After rewiring Project White Trash and going from needing 2 batteries hooked up to it to getting it to instant fire the moment you bump the key, I've decided I'm just going to rewire all of Junior's stuff. All this old wiring is old garbage. I'm going to replace it all. And as I was taking it apart, some of these old harnesses and stuff, I found this. This could be a major problem. Yeah, this whole harness just fell apart. So I'm going to take this wire and those wires and cut the adapter harness out from between them and attach them to each other to start. I've completely replaced the alternator harness with just some basic wiring of the same size. Spliced it in where I could, regrounded the battery, regrounded everything. We're going to see if it'll start any better than it has been. 2 pumps and fire it up. Nope, no better really. It sounds really good though. Do that again. Not as bad as it was. All right, leave the headlights on and give it a little gas. Let's see if it charges up any. Nope, not at all. But it was going down below the D, so that is some sort of improvement. Turn it off, see if it'll start again. It started. Not starting very quickly though. I think it's better than it was. You want to go test drive it and see if it's any better? We just got the voltmeter out and the system's going from 12.0 at idle, which is very low, up to 12.2 under throttle, which is extremely low. So this thing is just, it's doing the bare minimum. It's not putting out anything, and I don't know why. Turn it off and try to start it again. Well, that's 4 startups in a row after warming up, so that's better than it's been. We're gonna go drive it and see how it does after it's really brought up the temperature. It just is not charging. It doesn't go up under throttle at all. No difference. Ran great most of the time, up to 4,000 RPMs, and then I ran like crap, and then coming up the big hill into the neighborhood, it's got a miss under heavy load. No change. Let's turn it off and see if it starts again. Been running for a while up to full temperature. It has not been starting lately. Nope. Voltage regulator and starter still in order. Scalding hot to the touch again, to the point you can't touch them at all. I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. It is several days later. Reading online, I found several sources that say that this alternator needs a separate ground wire on the ground stud, so I've decided to add that. As with everything online, several sources say no, that this thing only grounds to the voltage regulator, but since this has not been working well and the system is not charging properly, I decided to give it its own independent ground on the ground stud and see how this works. How are we going to start this morning? Better than usual. Still no change to the charging. Nope, no change. Made a parts run to get things for Project White Trash. Car's been heated up fully, and I turned it off. Let's see if it starts. Huh, weird. Maybe that ground strap is doing something. Don't know. Drove it for quite a while today. I drove it around with the bright headlights on. You can see the amp gauge. It's not good. And I noticed there was definitely a bigger miss with the headlights on than with the headlights off. It ran a lot stronger when I turned the headlights off. So I do think we definitely have some kind of electrical draw somewhere. I did go down and get a new fuel filter for it because I thought maybe I'm too focused on the electronics. Maybe I'm starving it for fuel, and it hasn't had a fuel filter in a while, but now I'm pretty sure it's the electronics. Been driving it pretty hard on a hot Texas day. See if it turns off and fires up twice in a row. Still a problem. I called my friend Johnny Wilson once again, and he told me to start the car, run the car, disconnect the battery, let him know what happens. Car shut off instantly. The alternator is not putting out any power, or it is not getting to the battery. That's why I've got 12 volts everywhere, the same exact 12 to 12.2 volts everywhere. The alternator is not putting anything out. When I go back to the parts store for my parts later, I'm going to have them test it, see if the alternator is working or not. It's an hour later and the battery's dead for reasons. It is a week later. I'm finally getting to come back to work on this car. A buddy of mine sent me this wiring diagram right here that I'm going to show you. Pretty basic, but this is not the way this car is currently wired. So I am going to change things up and try to wire it that way so I can, and hopefully that's going to work for us. The back of this voltage regulator harness has definitely seen better days. I'm just going to clip this entire thing out and I'm going to wire it fresh from scratch. Per the diagram, I have rewired everything. I covered up the one unused terminal. The one terminal comes up here to the starter solenoid. The other one goes to the field wire in the back of the alternator, the white output, which I definitely did not have hooked up correctly before. And I'm about to put the main power outlet to the battery. I have the output to the alternator wired to the solenoid to the battery. It's all put back together and hooked up. Nothing is smoking yet. That's a good sign. Oh, whoops, I forgot something. It's all hooked up now. I've double and triple checked everything. Still nothing smoking. Let's see what happens when I try to start it. All right, here we go. Please don't start an electrical fire. No electrical fire, but I'm not sure we're charging either. I'm going to say we are not charging. Headlights on, headlights off, headlights on, headlights off. That isn't good. Maybe we are charging. Here's the battery. That's the highest it's been in a while. Here's the back of the alternator at the charging hub. Yeah, I think we might be getting an electrical charge. It's crazy. With the bright headlights on, we're maintaining 12.3 to 12.4 volts at the battery. Same coming out of the back of the alternator. Hopefully the alternator is actually charging and it's not just running off the battery like it was before. I'm going to leave this thing running for a while I work on my car, leave the headlights on, and see if the battery will maintain a charge. And then in a little while, when the boy gets home, we'll go test drive it, and we'll see if it still misses and see if it actually charges under throttle. Oh yeah, I guess I need to disconnect the battery and see if it stalls. Come on, please stay running, please stay running. Oh, it's staying running. Awesome. So it stayed running, but the alternator with the battery disconnected is only saying it's got 11.5 volts. That doesn't seem right. Headlights are not. So the car stayed running about 5 minutes with all the accessories turned on before it stalled out at idle. It fired right back up immediately. So I'm going to clear this good. Oh, and also check this. With no accessories on, we're getting 14.5 volts from the back of the alternator, and the battery's staying at 12.5 to 12.7. So it's time to test drive it, but I think we're going to be okay finally. It's been out here idling and running for about an hour in the Texas heat. Let's see if it'll start again. Oh, beautiful. Thank God. This might almost be working. I forgot the boy has an after-school event today, so he's not going to be here, so I'm going to go test drive the thing. That's not encouraging. I do not have a phone holder, so the phone is just going to sit here and record. I'm just going to see if this thing will go up over 4,000 RPMs and pull normally. First full throttle pulls all the way up to red line for the first time in a month, and I did it a couple of times, but now I'm driving around with the lights on and it is not charging under throttle or otherwise. It is really low. So I'm going to pull in my local auto parts store and have the alternator tested and see what it comes back as. I just had a full electrical system test done, and the gauge looking like this. This is 12.75 volts at idle. That's 13.5, and then it goes up to about, with the lights on, it goes up to 13.5. When the lights off, it goes up to about 14.2, so that's good. This is not good. The engine is not missing like that. Another tachometer skipping. That is what started this whole thing. I do not understand. Since this thing is apparently charging really well now, I'm going to drive it all the way home with the bright lights on, with as much drain on the system as I can create, and make sure it's going to still accelerate. No misses at high RPM due to a lack of voltage. We are back. It is doing all the things again. It's charging at idle, it's charging under throttle, it's headlights on, wide open throttle pulls, climbing hills, doing all the things it's supposed to do. Thank God. This has been frustrating. I'm actually going to give this another week or so of regular, reliable use before I declare victory, but I think it's finally over. Hottest it's been in Texas in 9 or 10 months. Oh yeah, we got a good charge and it's starting regularly. I love it. All right, first time in 4 weeks Junior's driving the car. Last time this happened, he melted the electrical system. Hopefully he does better this time. So far so good. running great, but we are having some slow starts again. Turn it off and try to start it again. What is this thing's deal? All right, we're gonna have to check connections on the starter. Ugh. It's a little concerning. Everything is scalding hot again. Both terminals in the battery, starter solenoid, voltage regulator, everything. I mean, I know it's 100 degrees in Texas, but hot beyond what it should be. I'm not sure why. We finally got it started. It's putting out almost 13 volts at idle and almost 14 volts under throttle, so the alternator is working. Not sure what the deal is with the hard starts. And the starter solenoid started smoking again. Good times. Trying one last attempt to get this thing to quit hot starting. So, new ground wire is 0 gauge. I tried to go 0 gauge on this wire, the actual starter solenoid wire, but I couldn't find battery hubs for it. No one had them. So I got a brand new 4 gauge wire. The starter wire, which was a really thin 4 gauge, it said 4 gauge, it looked like 6. I have a 2 gauge wire on there now. So hopefully, maybe if our issue is transmission and bad wiring, it's all been replaced with brand new, nice, clean wiring. So hopefully this is going to hot start from now on. Now we wait and see if it'll hot start later. The Junior's car's been idling for a while. Let's see if it'll start. Well, the starter sounds a lot healthier. It's turning a lot faster. And as you can see, it is full operating temperature. We are back from our cruise. Let's see if this thing is going to start. Yes! I think it's fixed. I think we're finally back, boy. After 4 long weeks, I think everything is fixed. Oh yeah, listen how fast that thing fires when it's hot. Yes! We're calling this victory. We're declaring victory. Huzzah! 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 Yes! If by some miracle you're still watching this video, thank you and God bless. You're a true road warrior if you made it this long. But anyway, that's what we've been up to the last 4 weeks. And the reason this video took so long is work and second jobs and kids in school, and his sister graduated. So things have been busy. So this is a part-time thing that we do when we can. It legitimately took 4 weeks to get this car squared away, but the car is running awesome now. It just starts now. And it runs and it drives and it charges. So finally, after 4 weeks, we can enjoy our street car again. Oh, and I spent a lot of time working on white trash when this thing was frustrating me. So that's also what we've been up to. But that's a whole another video coming soon. But thank you for watching. We appreciate it.